Several new projects could bring people back to the west side. Black Chicagoans flocked to the city's North Lawndale community after World War II. But in recent decades, the population has dwindled. For the latest in our Chicago Tonight in Your Neighborhood series, Amanda Vinicky and producer Marissa Nelson spent the day in North Lawndale. Amanda joins us from there now. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Brandis. I'm in North Lawndale's Douglas Park. Actually, it was officially renamed last year in honor of abolitionist Frederick Douglass rather than Stephen Douglas. Douglas Park hosts a lot of Chicago's big events and concerts. Last year, after having been canceled because of COVID, Riot Fest is going to be back in September here. Among the other attractions, Martin Luther King Jr. Exhibit Center. MLK lived here for a time in the 60s. Home and Square Community Center, a 14-story, still standing structure that was actually Chicago's original Sears Tower. These are all attractions that fashion designer Danita Robinson says makes North Lawndale one of Chicago's hidden gems.
I think it is a rose that's growing from concrete. I think it has so much beauty that's hidden behind so much darkness, but it's now blossoming. A lot of the seeds that's been planted are now starting to flourish.
A rose, she says, because it is a community that is full of love, a community full of support, with active community groups like the Homeowners Association, of which she is a member. Now, as for the concrete, there is the violence, a lack of investment, systemic discrimination.
When we talk about barriers and things that this community doesn't have access to, redlining being one, no access to homeownership, legitimate access to capital to get the homeownership. You know, I can have the same credit score as someone from Lincoln Park and we don't get the same access to capital. I think that's concrete.
Robinson grew up in North Lawndale, and a couple years ago she bought a home near 13th and Central Park that's close to her grandma, within walking distance from her grade and high schools. Also across the street from a dog park, which she says her Yorkie and Shih Tzu, Prince and Sparkle, really appreciate. She says that it is time to be the change that her community needs to see, and that means investing in it. She says owning a home here gives her power. North Lawndale does offer some gorgeous old graystones, but there are also a lot of vacant lots, more than 2,000. A joint city-state community partnership aims to begin to bring life to some of those empty spaces. The city selling 250 parcels for $1 each. Then the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation will lead a project to build subsidized homes on them. Director Richard Townsell hopes that they'll sell for about $200,000 each, within reach for working families.
And so our goal is, how do we get people to not move but improve? How do we repopulate, get young people like Danita Robinson and others to decide not to go live in the West Loop, but instead, buy a home in North Lawndale. Get people that have historic ties through churches, that work at Sinai Hospital or the medical center at Rush, and schools, to decide that they want to buy and live in North Lawndale.
Also involved in the project, Shangwei Parker, who does property management for affordable housing and lives in one of those graystones. He says North Lawndale is a mere 7 minutes from downtown, also near 290 and CTA stops. But he says North Lawndale just hasn't seen the development recently that other areas of the city have. His goal with this project, to not make it just about home ownership, but also job training, to give young people the skills they need in the construction trades to make these homes.
It's always been my vision to see people build the homes, and in the process of building homes, they make meaningful wages that they can purchase the homes. And I just think it would be such a great story if we actually had a community that can walk down the street with their sons and daughters to say, hey, I built that home, I built that home, and by the way, I built the home that we stay in.
We spoke with Parker down the street from Harmony Community Church. The congregation, by the way, used the time that it had to be empty during the pandemic to do some renovating, but is now back to hosting Sunday 10 a.m. services. And the pastor assures me that the music is really great. Pastor James Brooks grew up in North Lawndale, but his family was among those that left and really that exodus. According to the latest American Community Survey, the population of North Lawndale, which is 87% black, now hovers near 34,000. That is down from well over 100,000 at its peak. But Brooks came back and is now raising his daughters here. Violence is a challenge, but it is one he says that the church confronts head on with its Project Presence peace gatherings.
Wherever there's a hot spot, wherever violence has occurred, wherever drug sales are high, we work in collaboration with our police department and other organizations within the community, and we set up positive loitering events. And this allows us to bring positivity to a negative spot.
Now, the new homes are not the only project that North Lawndale is seeing. On Monday, the governor, also former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel, were on hand for a ribbon cutting at the Will Group's new manufacturing warehouse at K Street project, a 60,000 square foot space. But this is just phase one. The plan is to double it within the next year and a half or so. President Josh Davis says the Will Group looked at other and less expensive areas for its expansion, but decided to do it in North Lawndale.
Because we wanted to invest in the west side. We've been on the west side since 2008, and long term for us, we had developed the workforce that lived in the surrounding area, and so for us, we wanted to stay in the community, and we're really proud of our ability to do that.
The Will Group makes street lighting, also other electrical equipment, including a lot of those new LED street lights that you see around the city. Davis says the goal is to hire at least 100 local people to work at this new plant. It is a job, by the way, that offers a 401k, health benefits, tuition reimbursement, and what he says are competitive wages. Assembly jobs starting at between $16 and $20 an hour. Jarvis Reed is one of the 26 employees and local residents working at the facility now.
I work different little tip agency jobs, but this is like the first job out of all the other jobs that I actually have now that I can feel that's like it's better than the other jobs that I had.
We caught up with another worker who says that he was really proud when he drove by a nearby Amazon distribution center and was able to tell his 10-year-old son, Carl, that he had made the specialized lighting and other electrical equipment that powers it. Now, there is more economic activity ahead for North Lawndale. Alderperson Michael Scott says that an RFP is out to redevelop the Operation Silver Shovel dump site, and we did talk with Alderman Scott about that and more. We'll have that coming up, but for now, back to you in the studio.
Should be interesting. Looking forward to it, Amanda. Thank you.